Welcome to the Two Blokes Chatting radio show on 94.7 The Pulse. Music, interviews, news, and, well, two blokes chatting. Now, here are the two blokes.
We've interviewed a lot of great people on this program. No, I'm going to get this right. We've interviewed a lot of people on this program, and Ian Cover, you're one of them. So I am stealing lines from you, but that's okay.
Yeah, that's okay. I probably stole it from someone in the first place.
I would have thought so. Welcome to the program, Ian Cover, a Coodabeen champion. And as I found out a little while ago, and we had a chat, a whole lot of other things going on in the background as well as being a journo and a former parliamentarian and all sorts of stuff.
That is correct. In fact, I had to listen back to the WOW pod, and there was one question you asked me about something, and I got off on a tangent. I never got back to answering the question, so we'll have to do it all again.
So for those who are wondering, WowPod, this is a shameless plug. WowPod is my podcast, and I think episode 79, I reckon it was. Ian Cover and I had a great old chat.
You reckon I've done a few things? I was just, off the top of my head, if memory serves, Walter Murphy was very versatile.
Yes.
He was a composer, an arranger, a pianist, a musician, a songwriter, and record producer. And did that sound like I was reading that?
No. No, well played. In fact, I think I'm right in saying that the reason why I can't remember whether it's the Walter Murphy Band or the Walter Murphy and the Big Apple Band, because he performed under both names, but he played every one of those instruments in that piece of music we just heard.
Did he really?
Yeah, which he must have been tired at the end of it.
That's something. And he wrote for a whole lot of TV shows and stuff.
Yes.
Like, Buffy and the Vampire Slayer, Buffy the Looney Tunes, all that sort of stuff. That show with Johnny Carson, so he goes back a bit.
I don't think he wrote that one, though.
I probably wrote music just used on the show, but not the actual theme.
Yeah, no, but I think
I don't think he wrote the Fifth of Beethoven.
I don't think he wrote that.
No, it was merely a disco adaptation.
So we come to the end of 2020, and we thought we'd invite some people who had made major contributions to the program. None of them were available, so we thought we'd give you a call.
Oh, that's very kind of you. Thank you. And it's been a good year to talk on the radio, isn't it? I'm a bit lost this morning because normally I'm listening to you in the car driving to Melbourne, and I was almost going to get in the car and drive around the block. Because is there no app to listen to the Pulse live on
there is
your
no
devices?
We have only just proceeded to get to a website, Ian. So it's something that I think we should be certainly looking to do, and it's not that hard to do. So we might talk that one through.
Mitchell Dye, if you're listening, that's your job post-Christmas, is to get an app for Pulse FM. That would be good.
I've got that sort of high-tech modern system now where you press your phone and it comes out of the speaker below your television set.
Well, it's interesting. Rob's just mouthed the words, "What's an app?" So.
No, I'm coming in slowly. COVID has been an interesting year, and we've still managed to get a relatively normal footy season, and you guys have continued to do your work pretty well. So were you... Obviously, the MC work was your great inconvenience. How much work would you normally do as an MC? Would you average a gig a week normally?
Oh, look, the stats from my friend Stan's statistician at Stradbroke Island show that I think it's 1.37 a week. Yeah, 1.37 repeating. Yeah. In fact, I did a little thing on Thursday for a golf day in Melbourne, and spoke at a lunch there and hosted the presentations. I think that was the first live gig I'd had since March. So there you go.
Well, so the good part about it is it's not as if you're out injured and budding MCs are coming in and stealing your thunder. So everyone's starting from the same base. So hopefully your life will return to normality in that space, because you do that particularly well.
Oh, that's very kind of you, Rob. But, sometimes I am out injured and blokes come off the interchange bench and take your gigs off.
I've heard there was someone cut your lunch at the Geelong Cricket Club, as I understand it.
Correct.
No, I'm happy to come along this year and watch, Ian, while you go back to your normal position. It was a great honour to fill in for you. I can't remember why you're injured, but there was some inconvenience. But no, we got through the night, and it was a great pleasure to do that, and hopefully we'll get some more of it. The Cricket Club in a little bit of transition at the moment, Cove. I imagine you're all over that. Michael King, who no doubt would be a good friend of yours, back in the box seat, and David Kelly probably pulling a string or two, and maybe even Bobby Merriman in behind the scenes, but hopefully they'll get that fixed.
How dare you say that about Bob? No, look, I think they've done very well and organised things, quickly, and a couple of new people on the committee as well. And in all these things, you got to go forward, and they're certainly going forward positively.
A good result last week, a good win by the first 11 and second 11.
I was going to send Michael King a message and say, new president, the first to have a win straight away. Better than that hack Kelly. Hit the first two and they got beaten both games.
Yeah, that would be of absolutely no point unless you were to also send it to the aforementioned Mr. Kelly.
Yeah, correct. I pulled up on doing that. I was going to do a group message. But no, David, look, he's been a fantastic servant at Geelong Cricket Club. And, at the time, there was probably no better person to come in and, put a safe pair of hands on the tiller, as they say.
Yeah, very much so. Let's change tack to the footy.
Nicely played. Hand on the tiller, let's change tack.
Yeah.
Did you pick up on the subtlety of that?
I had no idea what I said. Did I say something clever?
Yeah.
God, that's unusual.
When you don't realise what you said. Yeah.
The footy, interesting decisions by the recruiting committee at Geelong. Clearly, they are telling all the supporters, we are going to win the premiership in 2021. We've got rid of some old blokes, but we've got a few more old blokes in to fill the gaps. It's looking like another exciting year for the Catters.
Well, we might have been a chance in the grand final if Jeremy Cameron had got an early release from the try.
Yes.
It's funny, over your lifetime watching the footy, I'm sure everyone's like this. You have favourite players in other sides, and from the day the Giants started, I clapped eyes on Jeremy Cameron and immediately fell in love with him. And I always thought, gee, how would he be playing for Geelong? I thought, well, he should play for Geelong. He's a Western District boy.
Exactly.
And the fact that he is coming to Geelong and he's going to be wearing Geelong colours is so exciting. It was a bit like when Dangerfield came back. I had to go down to the first game and actually see him in the Geelong colours to believe he actually was there. And for the first couple of games, you were still pinching yourself. Dangerfield's actually playing for us. And it's going to be the same with Jeremy Cameron, no doubt about that. And I tell you what, I think this is a product of growing up a Geelong supporter and, and probably influenced a bit by the great Bubby Davis, that I like watching nice players, ones that Bobby would say, oh, he's a nice mover, and our song says, we're the greatest of all. We play the game the way it should be played. So I've always liked skillful movers, and that's why I've always loved Sean Higgins. In fact, I tipped him to win the Brownlow about 3 years in a row, and he kept getting injured. So there's another one that's going to be very, very handy. He'll more than adequately fill the number 4 Guernsey.
I tell you what, though, I wouldn't hold any great stead in your song. I walked past Coodabeen Park yesterday, as a matter of fact. I was getting my car serviced and I had to walk past it. The banners fly on high from dawn to dark. Not a banner in sight, and it was 10:30 in the morning.
Oh, well, you've missed that other line that's little known, and that's one that says, our banners fly on high from dawn to dark down at Coodabeen Park during the football season from March to September.
Right, okay. Yeah, that's the one that the backing singers sing very quietly. They didn't get the track right. Yeah, that was. I was disappointed, to be perfectly Francis with you. It was.
Cove, I don't know if you are like me, but back in the 70s and 80s, I knew all the players from all the other teams and took great pride and loved the competition. But I reckon I've got more interest in what's happening at Coodabeen Park now, but I don't really know what's going on at any of the other clubs, and I don't really care all that much. Have you sort of gone off the game a little bit?
Oh, I think it comes with age, Rob. I think.
Well, he's got you covered there pretty well.
Look, it's hard to keep up, and I also think in the end you realise there's a lot of wasted energy worrying about what all the others are doing. Just taking interest in your own club. In fact, I've got a hard and fast rule now. I only talk to people about Geelong if they barrack for Geelong. There's nothing worse than people telling you, okay, if I tell you where you went wrong in the grand final, look, I think I'm pretty much aware of where we did go wrong. Go and talk to someone else from your following,
Yeah.
Hawthorn people are the worst at it, They still tell me what went wrong in '89. Well, I was actually there. So.
That was a big day, wasn't it? Because that was the one and only time I saw a Fitzroy team win a premiership. They won the twos.
Oh, yeah. In the last quarter where they were about 10 goals behind or something.
Yeah, the Doc Wheeldon took his jumper off and went round slogging blokes, and when he was asked why he took his jumper off, he said, so that the umpire wouldn't be able to report me. Said the only man on the ground with a mohawk.
Yeah. Look, why don't you go and talk to your Fitzroy mates about that? Rob and I don't need to know about that.
Both of them.
I think that's one of the great things the Coodabeen champions have done, is to bring the Doc Wheeldons of the world back to life, because I know he's been a guest like many other of those interesting characters that adorn the game.
I know you're working your way slowly through the Coodabeen champions 40 footy seasons book, Rob.
Is that available for Christmas, just out of interest?
Yes, it is. At all good bookstores or via coodabeens.com.au.
There you
It's
go.
the third print run now.
Magnificent.
And so you'll read about how we used to have an annual match, the Coodabeens versus the punter-to-punter crew. And of course, we didn't have 20 on the roster, so we had to get imports in. And there was one year there when someone reckoned they had Doc Wheeldon lined up to play for us. I'll tell you what, that would have been more entertaining than that reserve.
Oh, dear.
Actually bring in with a kid called Jimmy Wind.
Oh, yeah.
Jimmy
Yeah.
Wind, who had played at I think he was playing Essendon Reserves at the time. He couldn't get a game. He ended up at Fitzroy.
He did, wearing the number 8.
He was a very good player, Jimmy.
Mm.
And he's turned up to, I don't know, Tony Leonard met him in a pub or something. And thought,
In a pub, really?
Yeah, or maybe he's in a pub, not Jimmy. And Tony said, we've got this game on. So Tony turned up and said, Jimmy Wind's going to play for us. And Wind, I come with his Wind. What is it? Is it Wind or Wind?
It's Wind. I think Scott Wind, Jimmy Wind.
Wind, I think it is. So, Anyway, Jimmy's turned up. I said, that's that little bloke. He's a gun, you know. And he was wanting to sort of show his wares off. And so Tony said, look, we'll leave him up a bit. He said, mate, leave your track shoes on. Don't wear your footy boots. Well, he must have racked up 40 possessions.
Listen, we shouldn't gloss over that book. It was a somewhat flippant remark from Neil, but if you are at the stage where you haven't got yourself a Christmas present for some footy fan friend of yours, seriously get this book. It is a damn good read. If you're a fan of the show, you go through it and just laugh away at the memories that come through. You can remember listening to the particular things that are mentioned in the book. It's fantastic reading, so seriously give it some thought. And I'm glad you're on the third print, Cove. That means that people have really bought into it, which is good.
And look, and if you can't read, just look at the pictures. There's plenty
They're
there.
fantastic.
And you'll get a lot of laughs out of pictures of me with a mullet.
I was going to say, it's not the sort of book that you necessarily need to put aside 2 quiet hours on a Saturday afternoon where everyone else goes out to read it. It's light reading.
It's not the way to read it. It's the classic coffee table read.
There you go. Yeah. Well, some people have actually taken it to a smaller room, apparently, where they get no distractions and they can read it at their leisure.
Very good. It was just a reminder too. The bit I was reading last night, I was flipping pages and got the Simon Whelan rant from another close Geelongs and killed the game that he comes second in. That was classic stuff.
I'll never forget being in the studio on the Saturday morning, saying, you should have come down along with me last week, because the Saints got beat by a point at the end, after leading all day or something, because Gary Senior kicked about 6 in the last quarter, and Gary, and so I'm going, and then he goes, no, I've had it with you, and you smug Geelong supporters, and away he went. And we were falling apart,
I remember another one of them when it was sort of in the later part of the 90s when Gary Ayres was coaching, and the great Ronnie Burns used to light up Kidinia Park, and Stephen Ziller had kept him touchless until midway through the last quarter, and in 3 minutes he's kicked 3 goals, and they've been done in very similar circumstances. Yeah. Simon would have been livid that day.
It was fantastic. So you can just read it and imagine, imagine Alan Alder's voice from MASH.
Yes. Now, one quick question I wanted to ask last time we chatted and we ran out of time, but your venture into politics was really unusual at the time. It's remained really unusual with me because you don't strike me as that sort of chap. But you went in there for all the good reasons. You're very much a community person. Is the world of politics, does it make make your eyes spin these days?
Very much so. And I thought it was a pretty, it opened my eyes a bit when I got into it, and that's 24 years ago. I think it was starting to turn a bit nasty. Then in the last 20 years, it's just, gone downhill. I'm sure there's still people out there that go in for the right reasons, but it's just become such a big game, and the media, people going about how the footy's got, more accredited journos than it's got players.
Yeah.
More people with media passes than there are players. And politics has become like that too. Everyone's a commentator.
Yep.
Everyone's got an opinion. And half the time they probably don't know the facts. Dealing in facts. Well, yesterday.
Don't bring those into them.
What mean facts?
One of the ones that fascinated me during the last 3 or 4 months, and of all the people in all the world, I'm probably the least political of anybody. I could not give a stuff, to be honest. But fascinated by the number of people in Australia running around on Facebook telling me not to vote for Donald Trump. I just couldn't get my head around it. I sat and
you took their advice, you didn't.
I sat and watched a show on the ABC one night, and there was 3 commentators. Paul Keating used to say to Andrew Peacock, "Come on, Andrew, let's see your serious face." Well, they had their serious faces on and being quite adamant about that fact that no one watching should be voting for Donald Trump.
And do you think there were people in America, putting their aerials up really high to pick up the Australian TV show?
Well, it'd be a bit like if suddenly, we were about to have a federal parliament election here and, an Indonesian television show started broadcasting about who we should vote for. You just go, nick off. It's got nothing to do with it.
No.
I remember Jeff Richardson, the Coodabeen anchor man, always had a great line. You'd see someone walking around Melbourne, and you see a lot of them walking around with a New York Yankees baseball cap on or something.
Yeah.
And Richard would go, do you reckon there's kids walking around Times Square with Footscray Bulldogs caps on?
Yeah, well, that's we have a segment now that we've started officially now called The Long Run, and one of mine is regularly, why do parents go out and pay $150 for a Charlotte Hornets or Chicago Bulls singlet when back in the old days you pay $25 at Kmart and get your Brisbane Lions or your more likely Fitzroy Lions jumper?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
It's a disgrace.
In fact, why do they go and pay inordinate amounts of money to get a T-shirt with 12-inch lettering saying, a brand of footwear named after a Greek goddess?
Eros? No.
with a swoosh under it. I'm saying, that's so they can pay people to wear it when they're playing professional sport. You're
Yes.
subsidising them. I say, I'll wear one if you give it to me. And that's not unreasonable, is it?
I wouldn't have thought so.
And on that same theme, Cove, will you be having a happy Christmas or a happy holiday season?
I'll be having a happy Christmas, thank you.
Good on you, mate.
Oh, gee, goodness me. The long run, you might be pushing off from the side screen with Dennis Illy on that stuff.
Well, because it was interesting, it just sort of kicked off after Rob hosted his Thanksgiving dinner, and then we were chatting that night about it.
He knocked on my door on the last Saturday in October, and he had a pumpkin on his head.
The thing was, he didn't have a pumpkin on his head. You haven't seen him for a while.
Oh, dear.
It's a frightening thought. Hey, mate, before we probably should let you go and do something worthwhile with your day. But
You know what I'm doing today?
Golf today, is it?
No, I'm finishing off. So because I work on the ABC, I can't use brand names. You might have picked that up when
Yes.
I rant about the T-shirt. I'll be out using a high-pressure water cleaning device.
which my father refers to as a Karcher-Gurney gun. So he's got everything covered. No, I do need, how I do a little bit of music radio, and the highlight of the event is the request show when someone says, "Can you play this for?" I've got a request for you. The conversation that you and I had on WowPod, which is available at wowpod.com.au for those who are interested in hearing the whole kit. Your favourite Richie Benno story.
Oh yeah.
Because I tried to explain this to Rob. Rob hasn't got to that far in the episode yet. So off you go.
Well, I'll tell you, this is interesting you bring it up, Neil, because that gig I did on the comeback trail on Thursday, I told that story as part of my usual repertoire. Now I'm going to blow my whole routine on public radio.
Well, the good thing is only 4 people listening, so it's all good.
But I told that story on Thursday, and you won't believe it. I was looking at my Twitter account this morning, and a fella in the audience, who's obviously a cricket nut, then put it up on Twitter, messaging a fella called Rob Moody, who he's got all these great old cricket clips, and in fact Fox Cricket Coverage have now brought him on board, and they have a segment where they play old clips that he's got in his archives.
Yep.
So this fellow in the audience on Thursday has put up a tweet saying, at a thing today, Covey said, told the story about Richie Beno commentating a Mark Waugh cricket shot. Can you find it? Well, I know all this because this morning came up on my Twitter, the guy has actually found that square cut. It's on Twitter.
Excellent. Well, even better now we'll be able to go, because you will have retweeted that, no doubt, so people will be able to find it on your account.
Yeah, I commented, I just said what a fantastic thing to actually see it. So it proved my memory was largely good. It might have been a one day or not a test. Anyway, this goes that Richie's commentating and Mark Waugh was batting and he gets a short pitch delivery and he leans back. Wait till you see the shot. It's unbelievable. You love your cricket, Rob.
Yeah.
He leans back and he square cuts it and it goes just backward a point and clears the fence. It doesn't go any higher than like the moment when it hit his bat. So it's just, and you know, if Tony Gregg had been calling, you would have gone, oh, he hit that like a tracer bullet. Richie just goes, oh, he's given that. Good heavens, I'd forgotten the good heavens. He goes, oh, it's given that something. Good heavens, it's all the way for six. You know, now they just scream and carry on when they hit a maximum. Leave me out. That's a drinking game if you're watching the Big Bash. Maximum. So, no, Richie just, oh, given that something. Heavens. It's just fantastic. Fearless.
No, he was the very best, and it's a shame we can't get him back because we're just talking off air. The skill of commentary's just gone from the game. It's a game where you could easily watch it with the sound down and have a bit of classic music in the background. You wouldn't be any the less off. It was it's very sad.
There's a bit of given this program has a lot of musical references. There's a bit of Big Yellow Taxi in what you say there.
They pave paradise, apparently.
Yeah, and you don't know what you've got till it's gone.
Absolutely, yes.
Right.
And you realise how good Richie and Bill and Tony were, and you miss them every time. Remember there was a Big Bash game a couple of years ago down at Geelong, and because Bill had effectively retired and didn't want to travel on that, they coerced him into travelling as far as Geelong, and it was. I think, remember Sri Lanka played a game down here.
Yeah, yep.
And they got Bill on, and the game was just drifting along. And suddenly Bill got in the commentary box, and at the same time Sri Lanka came alive. And so did Bill. It was fantastic, you know.
I used to enjoy Bill trying to get his mouth around some of the names from that neck of the woods. That was.
Here's another story. Here's another story that I'll blow on public radio. So I'm feeling generous at Christmas time. It's a time for giving, not just receiving.
Sorry, holiday season.
Holiday season, sorry.
Yeah.
I once went to Brisbane to do a gig with Bill. I was hosting and he was the guest speaker. And so I did it for the Brisbane Lions.
I've heard of them.
Yeah. So we went up there and so we were supposed to finish about 3 and we were booked on a 5 o'clock plane back. And Bill said, oh, if we hurry, we can get to 4 o'clock. So we got a taxi and roared out to the airport. And it might have even been in the days of the Golden Wing Lounge.
Wow.
So anyway, Bill says, we go up to the lounge and he goes up to the person at the reception and the counter and says, just wondering whether we're on the 5, any chance we can get on the 4? And the lady said, just go and sit over there, we'll give you a call when we work things out. Bill said, no worries, leave it to me. He said, I've been through here all the time with Channel 9. They know me here, so, not a problem. Just we'll sit here and have a cup of tea and a biscuit or something. So we're sitting there, it gets to 20 to 4, quarter to 4. I said, yeah, they know you're here, Bill, don't they? Oh, yeah, no worries. Gets to 10 to 4, 5 to 4. I said, well, might as well get the papers. Looks like we're on the 5 o'clock. And then the announcement comes over. Would passengers Lowry and cover...
there's someone sitting not very far away from me at the moment, apparently, apart from falling about the floor laughing. He was telling me the story earlier in the year, and look, I've got, I can't remember who it was, someone pretty famous. I've got him lined up. Actually, he's a good mate of mine, actually. He's really, really good. Oh, it was Smokey Dawson, that's who it was.
I think I heard it.
And he goes, yeah, g'day, Smokey. G'day, Neil. G'day, Ron.
Oh, talk about belittle. I just crawled under the desk cover. It was one of the low points of the year for me.
I must confess, it was everything I could do not to fall about laughing.
I was in the car driving to Melbourne, and because I know Smokey, and I was at the Greg Dawson, and I was in the car, and I'm listening, and I thought, now you've done a really good thing here. You haven't corrected him on air, you know, embarrassed him. But he just kept going, well, that's right, Ronnie. Oh, they were great days, Ron. It was smooth, yeah.
Oh, dear me. Stop it.
The funny thing was, I told a couple of the guests who were coming up the next couple of weeks, and they came on and did the same thing deliberately.
G'day, Ron.
Enough. Go away and have a happy Christmas, Cove.
You got to have a laugh.
You got to laugh.
You do. Thanks for your contribution this morning and throughout the year. We look forward to. We're not sure whether we're back or not yet. We go into our recess period now of 4 weeks, and we've got to sort of get off the bench and make sure we get back for next year. If so, we hope to keep in touch.
Well, look, can I just implore the management in there to re-sign you chaps for 2021. I think the radio industry, not only in Geelong but right around the world, and particularly for the American listeners who regularly, would be deprived of quality radio on a Saturday morning up till 10 o'clock. It's important that you carry on your important, significant work. I've just got back into the Parliament now. I'm just doing
That's right, yeah. At the end of the day, in the fullness of time.
There's a lead into Coodabeen champions on a Saturday morning in the winter.
Look, and to you and your listeners, you always do this one. As someone said, if you can fake sincerity, you've got it made. So, look, can I just say to you and your listeners that you have a wonderful Christmas and spend time with your families, because that's what Christmas is all about.
Is that what it's all about?
Magnificent.
They say that's what Christmas is all about. Because can't stand it. Got to sit there for 3 hours and be bloody uncle in the handbag.
Well, all I can say is happy holidays to you, Ian, and we'll chat to you in the new year.
Yeah, all the best to you, boys.
Thanks,
Keep
Cove.
up the great work.
Good luck, mate.
Cheers, mate. All the best. Some poor sod's going to come on the radio in a minute and try and follow that.
His name's Josh Barnes.
Yes, we should. There's a taxi pulling up out the front. Maybe this is Barnesy. Well, what can you say? It is 20 minutes to 10. We're going to try and pull ourselves back together again.